fear nothing!
Hey, what's up dudes? It's Jaded. It's been a little while since I last made a video, and I just wanted to show you two spots of where I've been farming. As you can see, I look a little different now. It's sort of a Thor meets Captain America slash Conan slash Tron look that I'm going for here. The Storm Shield, just such, it's like not Tron-y enough to be awesome, and just not big enough to even, it just looks so like a toy. It looks like a toy, anyways. So I'm gonna show you the Act 3 Siegebreaker runs that a lot of people are doing now to farm gear. This is something I've been doing for the past 2 days or so. So far I've had okay luck with drops. You know, it's something you're gonna grind out over and over and over, but the potential for really strong items and endgame items is high. I don't think there's any purpose to farming Act 4 versus Act 3. I could be completely wrong there, but from what I understand, Siegebreaker is where it's at and where you're going to want to farm the most of your gear. So let me show you how to get there, how to start doing it right away. So first off, you want to start with Quest 6 in Act 3, Siegebreaker, and kill the Siegebreaker. Now, if you don't have this quest, there are two workarounds you can do. You could either get the waypoint from a friend, just, you know, join his game and then leave it and then start your own, or have that guy leave, whatever. Or you can do the workaround, which I don't think I've ever shown on my channel, so I'll just show it really quick. So you select any other difficulty, then scroll down to the quest that you want to start on, select it, and then just resume game. It's going to take you into hell difficulty of that quest. Leave the game after that, join a public game, and that will put you into Inferno version. And then just leave that game, and then it should show up on your Inferno section. So that's a workaround if you didn't know, but let's get into the actual farming. So I'll do a skill breakdown and a gear breakdown at the end. I know that stuff's kind of, can be boring for some people to watch, so I just want to get into the gameplay first. I'm just using the very typical tank setup that most barbs are using. I find it kind of a boring way to play the game, but at the same time it's pretty effective. So I've just been, you know, toying around with different builds, and I went back to the cookie cutter tank build just to knock out some of this farm. Now, first thing you're gonna do is port to Rakis Crossing, whatever. And the reason you do this is to get Tyrael. Tyrael is probably the only reason you're able to do this. If you're under geared, you can still do it. Don't feel discouraged. You just have to kind of cheese it a little bit more. But the first thing I like to do is just run through here and see if the underbridge area has spawned. Because the underbridge usually has a resplendent chest, and it typically always has a champion pack or a rare pack to get a Nef stack off of. So you want to clear that area. Now, another thing is I've been doing the switch to magic find gear trick that, you know, everyone's been doing since the game came out. It's really beneficial, even though it's irritating. It's just really beneficial to do it, even if you're gonna die, and most likely you will die, like 90% of the time. So don't feel bad if you have to like run back. It's definitely worth the trip if you have to run back to pick up a couple extra rares. So every time you down a champion or a rare pack, just make sure you pop it on. And then let Tyrael kill it, let your follower do the damage. Now, once you're done with the underbridge area, you're gonna TP out and then port to the Keep Depths level 1. The reason you do this instead of going somewhere else is it's just there's much easier mobs in here. There are still some that are really annoying to deal with, such as the Lickers, but for the most part, you're gonna have a pretty decent time just clearing this area out to get your stacks. For other classes, I don't know if this is the case, but I would think this area is still pretty good. The skeletons and the demon troopers, they do like very little damage. And you know, of course there are some champion packs and rares that will give you a big problem just because of the affixes, but if you can't down something, like say it's invulnerable minions or I don't know, just really nasty one like Fire Chains Molten's pretty bad, you can always skip it and go to like 4-3 or 4-2, and you try to find like another pack somewhere that you can down if you can't get your 5 off of this place and the underbridge. But yeah, don't be afraid to try this even if you think you're under geared. Even in my gear, which I consider halfway decent place for a barb to be, I still get absolutely dominated by a lot of packs, and it's still kind of discouraging playing melee in this game. But you know, you just gotta stick it out and farm what you can. You know, again, if you run into something you can't down, no problem, just let Tyrael handle it, because he is a badass, and I'm pretty sure at some point he's gonna get nerfed, because he just does too much damage, and the fact that he does damage while you're dead, he can solo a lot of champion packs and that. So another thing too is this area is pretty damn big, so if you die later on, it's a run and a half to get back to the spot you're in. So if you don't have movement speed boots or, you know, movement skills, it can be kind of annoying. So just keep that in mind. If you're having a really tough time with an elite pack, you can always run it back to an entrance where you can res and kill it faster that way. But yeah, there's not much else to say about this part. You really just, you know, get your 5 stacks how you want to. I know demon hunters like to go in the open field and do it that way. And like I said, if all else fails, you got your boy Tyrael there to just annihilate anything you want. Now, things that Tyrael has a problem killing with are anything that runs away. Anything with teleport, illusion's really a pain. Shielding and invulnerable minions is a pain. So there's a lot that Tyrael has, you know, he struggles with, because his AI goes on like whatever's closest. So if stuff's constantly moving around, he's gonna switch target and it's gonna heal up. Vampiric can be annoying if he's standing in like Molten and Vampiric, that's the worst. So there are times where you just have to skip a pack and move on somewhere else. But I'm not gonna dwell too much on this part, because even though it is like the hardest and the longest, it's also, it just changes so much. So you really have to kind of play it by ear and just do the best that you can with the gear you've got. So skipping ahead to the Siegebreaker fight now, it's really easy for a barb. Actually, I don't know about monk, but barb can kind of exploit with charge. It's not really an exploit, but the pathing of the Siegebreaker is not the best, and he kind of goes full retard if you charge straight into him. You find this like sweet spot under him. Now, this doesn't always work, it's not 100%, so you still have to be careful, because the 3 swings that he does do a lot of damage regardless what gear you have. So if you kind of bug out and he kind of resets and starts the path again properly, you can take a lot of damage and end up spilling. So I haven't found a way to like 100% glitch under him so that he can't attack you, but you kind of just gotta fiddle with it. From what I've experienced, maybe there's a specific wall you can get him against where it works 100%. I don't know, I haven't tried it too much. But basically, after he grabs you, you want to charge into him, and just, you know, use Revenge, use your Wrath of the Berserker, and every time he grabs you, just charge under him. When he does his charge, just strafe to the left and right. Just don't stop moving, because that also does quite a bit of damage. And then the ground stomp that he does, I just prefer to eat it. It's much better than playing the kite roll of, you know, swing and then run away, swing and then run away, which takes forever if you're a tank barb. So, you know, I prefer doing this fight with charge and just getting under him, doing as much damage as I can. And again, you know, once he gets close to dead, you're gonna switch to Magic Flying Gear, finish him off, and I honestly don't even know if Magic Flying Gear really helps with bosses, because they still seem to drop with 5 stacks regardless. So I haven't tested that too much, but I'm sure someone knows more than me out there about that. And yeah, that's how you farm the Siegebreaker. So hopefully you realize it's a lot easier than you might think with Tyrael. Tyrael, until he gets nerfed, is really the key to this. So, you know, go out there, try to attempt it if you haven't tried yet, and get some loot for yourself before it is all worth nothing. Considering how the auction house has been inflating, and You know, the best of the best gets more expensive, and then just right below the best of the best, it gets really, really cheap, so it's hard to sell it. Alright, now taking a look at my gear here, starting from the top with the helmet. This is a helmet with a command with physical resist and a socket. The reason I went for this is really, I just wanted to try it out. I just wanted to see, with the block chance being really high, if it really helped me. And honestly, I feel like maybe you could do better somewhere else, but it's what I got now. It's what I'm working with. I got this for pretty cheap, about $1.9 I think. And the reason I went for it is because at $1.9 you're still getting physical resist, which is key, and you're still getting that socket. So I might look to upgrade this at some point, try to get an all resist version of it, or just a really nice rare helmet. Shoulders, I just recently switched to these. These have kind of low stats, you know, 64 strength, 74 vite, but they have really monstrous resists. You're sitting on 63 all resist with 50 intelligence, so altogether you're looking at 68. It also has physical resist, you know, pretty high roll there, and armor, so really solid, but I would like to see more just core stats on those. My amulet is a strength, all resist, and life on hit ammy. For something like this, you're gonna wanna look for a strength version, because all of the vitality versions with similar stats like this are just way more expensive, and that's kind of a tip if you're on the auction house. Don't always look for vitality and strength, or don't always just look for vitality only. A lot of times you'll find that strength versions of things are just cheaper, and when it comes to an ammy with life on hit, it's very expensive with all resist. So that's just a little tip that you know, I use when looking for expensive gear. I just drop the vitality and go like full on strength. My chest piece, this is something I want to upgrade pretty soon. It has about 180 vitality with the sockets, 40 all resist, really low all resist, but it also has 7% life and range damage reduction. So, you know, it's a pretty solid item, but it can definitely be better off on the resist area, as well as maybe getting some strength in there. My gloves, you're looking at pretty solid stats, but no attack speed, no crit damage, no crit. So damage wise, they're really low, and you know, to get something with those stats and these stats, it's going to be super, super expensive. So you know, maybe I'll look for some with more resist. These are, you know, 57. There's room for improvement. I mean, there's room for improvement on every item, but you just got to go through and see what's your weakest link and upgrade from there. Moving on to bracers, again, kind of low stats, but good resist with some armor and a little bit of crit chance to help out with the DPS. My belt, very standard here for any barb. You're gonna want to get this. This is a string of ears, and the reason you get something like this, it has 17% melee damage reduction, and it goes up to 20%, but I got a pretty good deal on this, and it has 3% life. So I'm pretty happy with it for now, and it's one of those items that it'll last you a long time, and to get a 20%, you know, like a perfect version, it's gonna be pretty expensive, and something you'll upgrade towards the end of your gear. Now moving on to rings here, Justice Lantern, another pretty standard barb ring. This one has vitality, or has a socket roll on it, as well as some poison resist, so it's pretty decent. You know, obviously you probably want to get like either attack speed or all resist or physical resist, something like that, some life on hit. Although because it's level 50, the life on hit that you normally see on them is kind of low end. But yeah, I'm happy with this one. And then looking at the other ring here, this is a Band of Fallen Heroes. Recently picked this up for somewhere under 2 mil, which is pretty crazy. You know, it has all your stats as your all resist, has your vitality, your percent life, and then it has a really sweet stat at the end there, the reduced damage from elites by 3%. So very solid ring. If you can find one for cheap with similar stats, I'd probably recommend it. My pants, very high stats on these, you know, 200 vitality, 78 strength, as well as 66 all resist, and you know, getting 6 more there from the int. Not looking to upgrade these anytime soon. These are pretty damn good, so I'll probably keep these for a while unless something drops. Moving on to boots now. These are something I do want to upgrade. I want to get ones with movement speed, and I've been looking at, you know, Natalia's set and the, what are they called? Something Seekers. Well, I already forgot. But they have, you know, movement speed, which is really beneficial to someone who's melee. Helps you with kiting, helps you with, you know, catching up to things that run away. So I'd say movement speed is key in your build, but you don't need it for any like Act 3 farming or anything. It's kind of like a quality of life thing that you just really want to look for and get it where you can. I know there are some amulets that have them, bracers have them, but probably don't want to use the prowlers. Those are kind of weak for a tank barb. And then the shield, typical storm shield here, 28% chance to block on this one. Nothing really great about it. It's just a high block storm shield. And honestly, I felt like it should have helped me a lot more than it did. I don't know, for its price, I think it's a bit overpriced of an item, but when you get to the high block range of storm shields, they get a bit spendy. I just kind of wish that stat wasn't as important as it is, because you know, it just makes the low block storm shields very worthless, because that stat is just so core. And then my weapon here, looking at, you know, low 800 DPS weapon with some int for all resist, a good chunk of vitality, and some life on hit between the socket and the 146 that's just natively on it. So I'm actually looking to upgrade the socket to get the 400 life on hit, or, you know, of course even upgrading that one, but it's gonna cost some money, and you know, just getting extra 100 life on hit, it's not worth the price, or it hasn't been up until now. I'll probably drop some money on it. Something like this probably running about 5 mil in the auction house right now, and I was able to pick it up for low 2 mil. I was like 2.2 or something. You know, if I ever upgrade it, I'll probably look for strength, vitality, and trying to get more life on hit with more DPS. But that's probably gonna run me, you know, 10 mil, 20 mil, somewhere in there, and it's not that vital right now. Out of all the things, I'll probably upgrade my bracers and my chest next, because those are looking a little aged. But yeah, that's my gear. You can check out my stats. The important ones here are physical resist, the block amount. You know, I'm sitting at 47% block, almost half the time I'm blocking, and then I'm sitting on 20% melee damage reduction, which is also pretty big, and then 56k health, you know, max life, and as well as 754 life on hit. So, you know, pretty decent stats overall. I feel like I'm in a pretty solid place. I've been farming a lot lately, really trying to get the PvE gear set so that, you know, I can move on to maybe getting a PvP set ready for when that comes out, because I have a few ideas for PvP that I think people aren't really thinking about right now. You know, I feel like a lot of barbs are going to switch from the tanky side to like using a two-hander, being more aggressive, much more strength focused builds. So something to sink my money into later for sure, once I sort all the PvE gear out. And then if you guys want to look, here's my Enchantress, 1000 DPS two-hander with int and vitality. You really want to see like I don't know, 200 to 300 int on the weapon, because int really affects her damage a lot, more so than, you know, stats affect you. So everything here you'll see, you know, an amulet 200 int, you know, rings 100 plus int and vitality, and then her follower special item has, you know, 170 int with a lot of vit. So, you know, these are the type of items you want to shoot for, and these are the skills I use right now. I prefer the haste versus, or the attack speed versus the chicken mass control spell, because a lot of times she uses that, it's completely useless, whereas 3% attack speed is going to help you pretty much all the time. So, you know, I've been using that. But that's it for Siegebreaker, guys. Thanks for watching. I said I had 2 ways of farming. I'm gonna maybe I'll put together another video showing like this sweet spot in Act 2 that I was farming for like 3 days or something. It's really good for barbs. I don't know if other classes can take advantage of it. It's kind of old now. I don't know if it's outdated, if people can still make money off the spot, because you're not making gold, you're just, you know, getting drops. You're getting Act 2 drops, which aren't worth too much. You can get the occasional 1k DPS weapon there, but other than that, it might be outdated. So I'll probably put that together, and you know, if you can't do Siegebreaker, you can probably do that. So look for that video, and that's gonna do it. So I'll catch you guys next time.